Welcome back to part 5 of our 4-hour wedding photography workshop, live from the studio.
Taylor Jackson,
shooting 67 weddings last year.
Taylor Jackson, welcome.
So Taylor, you are well known in this community. You're an amazing photographer.
So what this workshop is this is part 2. Part 1 is probably on my YouTube right now, but also it might have caused an error in processing, and that's why it canceled out. And if that's the case, these videos are all going to be online. We're recording them with 2 nice cameras behind here. So they're going to be online soon, and it's going to be basically 7 videos are going to come out on YouTube here, and then 7 are going to come out on Patreon. So the Patreon videos are all business, booking more stuff. And then here is going to be a little bit more about just portfolio building and actually initiating the process to become a wedding photographer. So right now, this video, photography tip, my number 1 wedding photography tip is to be in control of your portfolio. And I've spoken to this a little bit over the past couple of videos, and it's really just all about building the business that you want to create. That if you're letting your portfolio dictate the direction of what you actually market, I would personally be shooting kitchen cabinets right now, because that was all of my first photography jobs that paid money. They were all just like kitchen cabinets and like weird things that it would have been great. I'm sure it could have led to something else, but unfortunately it probably wouldn't be my dream job. And I feel like at this point in my career, I'm pretty comfortable to say this is kind of like my dream, that I get to do cool stuff with my friends and we get to go out and have fun, weird adventures, and we somehow get paid to do that. So I am happy with where I'm at now, specifically because in the beginning, I consciously created what I wanted to be selling. And what that means is that, like, however you can do it, I spoke to this in the first video, is that I would come out, I would shoot videos of you snowboarding or at your band. If you invited me to a show, I didn't ask for money. You'd probably give me a free t-shirt, but I didn't ask for money. I was like, can we come out and like do photos together separately as 2 separate sessions? So I can build my portfolio selfishly, so I can have something to just like put on my website that is the direction of everything that I actually want to be shooting. So I would trade people. I would do these shots for these shots. And even though I very much enjoy doing these shots, if you invited me out, typically, like if you're kind of hiring me, I would probably deserve money. So if people could hire me and I would just demand their more time to do something that we're all 20, nobody wants to do this. If I could demand that we go out and do photos with your significant other, like, I don't know. It was a challenging sale at the beginning, but it definitely was worth me pushing and trying to create my own portfolio. So don't let bookings dictate the business direction if it doesn't make you happy. Number 1 rule for me is just a happy, like, I want my time freedom, and I want to make a business that actually makes me happy, that I'm not stressed about anything. And I feel like it took a long, long time, but eventually I finally did get there. So yeah. Moving into actionable things that you can do right now. As I did, ask friends to take their photos. And if they don't, like, offer them money. Like, you can pay somebody to model. I feel like that's the one barrier that I did not overcome early on in my career, that I was very much just kind of like, oh, I won't pay somebody to like go out and do photos if I'm not getting paid. And looking back, I wish that I would have just done that, because I could have tipped a lot of people that were just like on the verge of maybe saying yes to somebody that was just like, okay, cool, like, let's go do this. Like, awesome. And I could have built my portfolio so much faster had I just invested a little bit of money in that. I think as photographers, we all see the value in like buying new lenses, but we are very hesitant to actually invest any real money into our portfolio. And I think that should be very much flipped in the beginning, when you want to just create something that will eventually book you work. Setting up a styled shoot with vendors is a bit of a challenging one, because in the beginning, I'm going to say I reached out to probably about 100 photographers maybe in the local 3-hour radius here. I heard back from 1. His name's Scott Williams, and it was great. We did some stuff together, but everyone else just ignored me. And I also emailed, I think, every wedding planner in our local area here, which was like maybe 15, 20 at the time, and I didn't hear back from a single one of them. So if you are emailing people and you're not hearing back, just know that I was also there. And the workaround to that is just like, as we spoke to in the first video of this, was that like, find who has access to things. If you have a friend with a restaurant, if you know somebody that just got married and maybe they don't love their wedding photos, that if you get them back in their dress to do a shot, like shoot in that restaurant, and that restaurant's like an old diner or something, that you can piece something together based on what you have available that won't cost you a whole lot of money, but will look hopefully impressive, and it will suit the direction that you want your portfolio to actually grow in. You can find a portfolio workshop. Some people will consider this to be a little bit of a gray way to build your portfolio. I did this and I took a lot of great images that were in my portfolio for a long time. And simply what that was I just like saw that a dude in Toronto was doing this. He was getting a few models to dress up in dresses and we were just going out to take photos, and it worked out really well. And I took a lot of great photos. I think I had a better understanding of how to actually take great photos after that, and after seeing how people that are actually professional models know how to position themselves and what to look for. I feel like that made me a much better photographer, bringing that back to people that aren't traditionally models and maybe not super comfortable in front of the camera. Offering free engagement sessions to friends or strangers. If people would inquire in the very beginning, I would just be like, hey, I know I'm brand new. I have no experience. You can clearly see that. Can we just go out and do an engagement session so that I can prove to you that I'm actually like worthwhile to hire? And that seemed to go over very well. So those are some ways that you can actionably right now start building your portfolio. Do everything that you can right now to start building your dream portfolio, because if you just wait around and you wait for that to organically happen, it won't. And it will be a way that you'll just spin your wheels for years and years, and you'll never get to the tipping point of having the portfolio that's actually going to really, on a massive level, start getting you the work that you want to be doing every single week. So spend the time right now, go out and start creating the portfolio of your dreams, and hopefully within even like a reasonable time, like if you actively went out and you started doing shoots, and within like 2 or 3 months, you could probably build enough of a portfolio that you could really create a business that is worth hiring, and a business that has a strong visual identity, and you could start your pathway to making $100,000 or 30 weddings or whatever it might be, whatever your dreams are for your wedding photography business. All right, to the phones, Tim.
We have a few questions.
We have a few questions. Tim's still stressed out because the live stream died, I think.
So angry at myself.
Don't be angry at yourself, Tim. It's nobody's fault. Google's fault. YouTube.
We had one from last time.
All right.
Would you recommend the Godox V1 for on and off camera flash instead of normal speed light? Do you think it's worth it for portraits and weddings? Thanks. Cheers. Big fan of your work, from Darius Phillip.
All right, Darius. The Godox V1 is my favorite flash. Basically, Darius asked, would you recommend this flash for on and off camera work? I would say right now it is my #1 recommendation for a speed light. I used to use Nikon speed lights for a long time. They were fine with essentially the lithium ion battery, the huge battery that's in it. One, you will never see the end of that at a wedding day ever. And two, it's just the recycle time is so fast. So you're taking images and you'll just never, like, there won't be any blank frames. As well as if you're bouncing things, like I've kind of spoken to, that like I don't bring modifiers that I just bounce off of different aspects of whatever's going on in the room. When I'm doing that, you need a little bit more flash power to get that bounce. So for all of those reasons, it's great. As an off-camera flash, it's the easiest. I used to use Pocket Wizards, and they worked most of the time, but they were kind of faulty. The Godox, like all the triggers and everything just seems to work, and I'm super happy with it. So yeah, nothing but good things to say.
Great.
Back to Tim for our next question.
This is from Transandre1. He wants to know, does portfolio include what you post on Insta and Facebook? Should you be ultra selective on those informal portfolio spaces?
So the question is portfolio inclusive to your website, or does that also include Facebook, Instagram, and everything, any digital point that somebody could kind of touch you? And I think for me, portfolio is that I would have the most curated portfolio on my website, but on Instagram, I think, especially in the very beginning, it's important to see what actually connects with people and actually gets a response. And I know we don't want to all just like live in the numbers and play the numbers game and get stressed out whenever we don't get the likes that we want. But if you upload an image and it just like, if everybody just loves it, there's probably a reason, and there's probably lessons you can take from that and bring that into your portfolio. So I use Instagram more as a test ground, I guess, for images that I think my audience and my couples will enjoy. And then I bring all of the best of that to my actual website. So they can see that I work, they can see that I do things on Instagram. And then as they move to my website, they can see the best of the best. So best images on your website. Everything else, use Instagram as a bit of a test kitchen, I guess, and just take those lessons forward and know what works there. And I guess there's kind of the flip side of that is that you might create work that makes you really personally happy, but doesn't really go off and doesn't really connect with an audience there. And that's totally okay too. But to know that as a business owner, I think is very important, because you have to know what people actually want to buy in your local area.
Great.
All right, next question, Tim.
Osvaldo Rivera, very cool name, asks, which are the best platforms or services to promote your offer?
The best platform services to promote an offer of really anything, I think, is Instagram right now. Everybody's on Instagram, or at least all of my brides and kind of my demographic are. And I would say, like, number one, Instagram, figure out a way to do paid ads on that effectively and to figure out what content people actually want to engage with. And that doesn't mean just like making people click through to your website, because people just end up on a page and be like, oh, cool. Figure out a way either to help them in a dramatic way or create content that they have never seen before. It's easy for us because we can just go on every wedding magazine, and wedding magazines for the most part make content to appeal to the masses. But if you just take those headlines, alter them, and make them specifically like that, you go out and you do the work and you find the best 5 engagement photo session locations in your local area, and you can just kind of see what those magazines lead with and what gets the most shares, and then create content for that based on your local audience and let them be the test kitchen for that, and just kind of carry forward stuff that works for them into your local market and create some good stuff. So I would point people in the direction of that rather than just pointing people to my landing page on my website or a promotional video. If you have a promotional video, make a promotional video.
Smart, and it just popped out everywhere. Yeah. Next question is from Christian Kohlhausen. Very cool name. Will there be another Patreon action to join in?
Will there be another Patreon action to join in?
Is there Patreon actions you put out, or
actions like presets?
maybe?
There'll be like an action. Okay. So like some, I don't know. I haven't done anything in a little while. I used to do giveaways, and then I kind of ran out of stuff to give away. But we'll probably do something again in the future like that. I know Sam does his like 3-step click challenge as well. That seems to be a hit. That basically like he just sends out a blast, and it's like everybody, like wherever you are, you got to take a photo based on wherever you're at, or maybe around wherever your camera's at. I don't know the official rules to it, but that's kind of fun. I don't know. I just like kind of just creating content that is seemingly helpful to people, and doing that. But at some point, I guess this summer we'll probably do another image competition that'll have some nice prizes. So I feel like there's more value in that overall. Cool.
And then 2 more, looks like. Just Peter wants to know, have you ever regretted buying a camera? Said, what a waste of money.
If I ever regretted buying a camera and just thought it was a waste of money, I don't think so. There's cameras that I definitely bought that I thought were going to make me an amazing photographer and that they were going to solve all of my challenges and make all my wildest dreams come true. But on some level, I feel like that, like even though it's gear and we're not supposed to be inspired by it, buying like something like when I bought the Fuji X-T3 and I went out on a trip with it, I was re-inspired to go out and just take photos with it. So I think there's value in any camera, and for the most part, as long as you're not holding on to it for way too long, if you realize that it's not for you, usually you can resell it and maybe lose, I don't know, like maximum like 25% of the value of the camera. But if you can rent that camera for 25% of the value for like 4 or 5 months or 6 months or whatever, I think that's a reasonable trade. So figure out how to sell your things that you don't need.